Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for Hyperproductivity Release. I'm super excited to present to you today new reports UI, dynamic links, and attribute edit capabilities in our segments. Before we get started, a little bit about me. I'm Cecilia for those of you that don't know me yet. I've been with Tatango for almost 4 years now. Super excited to work with you all collaboratively. So if you would like to stay in touch, or if you have any specific comments or questions or feedback for me directly after the session, feel free to reach out. It's just Cecilia@tatango.com, and I'll be happy to stay in touch. Also, as we go through this webinar, there's a few topics that we're going to be covering today, but if you do have any questions, there's a question box. You can put your questions there. We'll go through those questions if we have time, and if we don't, we'll follow up with you directly on the questions that you have. So before we dive into this, I wanted to just remind everyone about the summit that's coming up at the end of the month in San Francisco, February 27th and 28th. That's a Monday and a Tuesday. If you haven't registered yet, I would highly encourage you to do so. We are rapidly running out of space and is going to be an amazing event, 2 days of great sessions, best practices sessions. There's going to be a customer-only track, so you'll get a specific sessions just for you as a customer. You'll be able to interact and meet your CSM, get some training. So I do encourage you to reach out to us if you haven't registered yet. If you need any help, getting there, please let us know if there's anything we can do to get you and your team there. And we'll look forward to meeting you in San Francisco at the end of February. So with that, let's get started. So for today's agenda, as I mentioned, we'll talk about the new reports UI. I'll also schedule another webinar to do a deeper dive session. So if you feel like you're not going to get enough today, we're going to do another session that's going to talk just about reports. So we'll do a little bit more there. Also, we'll talk about the attribute editing in segments, the new feature that we have released. And also another new feature, dynamic links in campaigns. So if you are using us for campaigns, this is going to be another great ability for you to deeper engage with your customers. So just some highlights on the new reports UI. It is much faster. It's much prettier. It's easier to manage. Just, the look and feel of it is much fresher. So if you haven't seen it yet, you'll enjoy kind of the new look and feel and an update to that. And it's much easier to view critical information now, understand segment trends, with the robust filtering capabilities. And I'll show you some examples on how to do that. This is just a quick screenshot of it. And then the other capability that we'll talk about today is the attribute editing in segments. So you can essentially edit your data in one view. You don't have to jump between screens. Before, you would have to kind of click into the account and go to the information tab and then edit your data there. It was a little bit cumbersome. Now you can expose your column and your data in one view and go through the specific attribute updates all in one shot within one screen. So it's much easier. And then dynamic links. So in the campaigns now, you can add dynamic links to a few different sections. And then we'll actually talk about which and where, how to use it and where to find this. So specifically on the call to action button, you can add a specific dynamic link now and embed specific parameters there. You can add it to an email message, an email signature, and then you can automatically pre-populate fields and forms for your users by adding the specific user attributes as parameters in your link, which is a really cool time saver for your end users. And you can also send customized surveys. So if you do surveys now, you can send you can make your link customizable and actually link the survey and present the survey that's relevant to your users based on their specific role. If there's some specific questions they're applying maybe to admin users versus other users, now you can actually use Tatango information and customize those types of surveys or the specific links to those surveys when you send the campaign. This is just a quick example in the screenshot as to how you would do that. So when you add the specific link, you can actually use the original URL that's there, and then you can add the parameters. So any data into Tatango, either on the account level or the user level, you can infuse that into the link so it actually presents the right information to the end user. And then same with what we talked about with the surveys. If you wanted to customize the survey and infuse the specific information by the customer's role, you can do that in the link. And now we'll actually jump out of this and go directly into our demo. As I mentioned, we'll kind of highlight all this at the high level, and then we will do a specific reports webinar. So you'll get a lot more on the reports functionality, in a future webinar session. So what I was thinking of doing, I already have a report created for new reports UI, but I'm just going to build one from scratch so you can see all the components and all the new features there. So when I bring in the new segment builder, already the UI has been refreshed here. What you can do, you can search for the specific segment that you have built before. Again, just a reminder that we build our reports from segments, so you would have to have already created a segment into Tango in order to use it in building your report. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just type in some keywords and look for my upsell opportunity type of segment. So right now I have an upsell segment that looks at high license utilization. So I'm going to grab that. And what it does, it actually already previews to me what my definition is, which is amazing. Before, we weren't able to see what the definition of a segment was when we were selecting it. And now when we select it, we can actually see what is the definition to ensure that we're actually picking the right segment here. Because sometimes we might have, similar naming convention. It might not be completely straightforward as to what is the specific segment doing. And here we can actually see what it's doing. In this particular area below, I can actually already update the name of this particular segment. I don't necessarily need all of this. Actually, it's better to truncate that or make it a little bit more concise, because when we do have the report and visualize this data, this last piece is going to get cut off. So maybe I'll just do, I'll just remove this piece and just have high license utilization. I can also designate a color. So if this is something like, let's say, positive type of color, maybe I'll just make it one of the greens for now. And then I'll click on OK. So when I click on OK right away, I will see my data update. I will have my information about the segment. It's going to tell me how many accounts are there. It's going to show me kind of this up arrow. It's going to show me that this has gone up by 10 in the time frame that I have selected here. I can also see the trend line right away. So what I want to do, actually, I want to bring in another segment. So I'm going to go again to this right section, click on new segment, and I'm going to do another one that is looking at my upsell opportunities. And maybe I'm going to do this one, product expansion. And then this product expansion already exposes to me what is the definition for that. If I'm satisfied with that, I will just select my color and I will simply remove the upsell piece and then just call it product expansion, upsell opportunity. And so now I have my report kind of already in the works. I have my two trend lines. I see how many opportunities potentially I have for both high license utilization accounts and product expansion accounts when I'm looking at my upsells. I can hover over my trend line, and each date I will see a number of how many accounts I have meeting that criteria at any given point. Now, the other cool part here is I can slice my report by any other data that is relevant. So I can actually add breakdowns right below, clicking on this plus sign. I can go into this breakdown by and simply click on the drop down and select the specific data point that I want to slice my report by. So what I want to do, I'm actually going to select it by Success Manager. And right away, as I select that, it populates the title for me. It is a little bit, when you look at this first time, you kind of initially want to start typing in the title. But if you just do the drop down here and select one of the attributes, it will already pre-populate the title for you. So you don't need to type it in manually. But if you do want to change the title, you want it to look differently, or if you want to change the naming convention other, than what it is in the system, you can absolutely do that. Now, since this is going to be a name, I don't need to worry about displaying it in any other way. It's simply going to display it as a name. When I click on OK, I will have a list and representation of my specific upsell opportunities by my CSM. So I can actually hover over and see, how many opportunities does Costin have for upsells based on specific license utilization or product expansion criteria. And Aaron, same with all of my CSMs. And then all of these areas, again, are clickable. So if I wanted to actually click in here and see the specific accounts, I would be able to do that as well. Now, what I'm going to do here is add another breakdown because I want to see it also by contract value. And I'm going to do by descending. And I'm going to click on OK. And I'm going to specify the interval to be 1,000 in this case. And now I have it by contract value as well. The other things I can do here with my breakdowns is I can edit them and I can make it into like a table if I need to, and then click on OK. And then the data will be displayed slightly differently. So I have a couple of options. I can display it like this, or I can display it in a table like that. And then when I hover over these numbers, it gives me the percentage as well. So there's a few options for you. Again, you can slice and dice your report by any data that is being tracked into Tango. So that gives you a lot of capabilities to manipulate this and expose the specific data points that are relevant and meaningful for you. I'm going to quickly save this report. I'm going to give it a name. I'll just call it a webinar. Features. And I'm going to save it. Now, as you note here, I have some flexibility as far as what the dates are. So I can look at it in the last 30 days. I can change that time frame. And then I can also change how it's displayed. So I can go from numeric to percentage distribution. Right now we're on numeric, but if I do percentage distribution, this is what my report will look like. So that's another option for you if you wanted to see the data a little bit differently. I'll go back to the number. The other things I can do here is, I can, again, go back and change the name if I need to. I also have an ability to duplicate my reports. And in some of these sections, I have an ability to download. So I can download some data to CSV if I need to. And all of these little icons are the download to CSV options. So there's a few different things you can be doing with your reports. Again, a reminder, reports are built from segments. So if you have some cool logic or definitions for upsells, or maybe QBRs, or maybe customers that are not in good health, or maybe not adopting specific features, you can expose those and visualize that data in this type of dashboard via the reports. The new UI makes it much easier, much faster, much more user-friendly for you. So I would encourage everyone to start playing around, give us feedback on it. What do you think? And then we'll also do a more deeper sessions on the specific reports capabilities so that you can get a little bit more examples and ideas as to what kinds of reports would be cool for your team to have in your Tango. So with that, I'm going to move on to our next new feature, and I'm going to go to segments, and we're going to look at how we do the actual updates of attributes directly in one screen. And so I'm going to pull up my segment that I already have. And again, you can create your own segments. The key thing to remember here is that if you are managing an attribute onto Tango, that means the source of that information lives into Tango, and that's where you update it. Then you can absolutely go ahead and update that data into Tango. But if your data for that particular data point gets into Tango from, let's say, your application, or maybe it's brought over from Salesforce or another CRM, then that should be your system of record where Tango picks that data from. So you don't need to go update that data into Tango if the source of that data lives in, let's say, Salesforce. But if you are updating and managing some of the data or attributes into Tango directly, then absolutely this would be an amazing feature for you to go ahead and update those variables in one shot. So this is what I'm going to highlight here. I have my segment and I have my columns. These columns I brought over by clicking on this little select columns editor, because you can customize and select which columns you want to see. You can actually also reposition them in your segment view. I'm just going to bring this one at the top, a little bit to the top, the reference part. And then I'll show you how to edit that directly in the one view within your segment. So now the new capability that we've added is this ability to edit the value directly in here. So when you click on edit value, you can simply update the specific value directly here. Your options should already exist. So we have an attribute that's for tracking customer references. So is a customer referenceable or not? And so the values are yes or no. And then I can simply go into Tatango and update that in one view here directly in my segment and confirm it. And then it's going to save, and I can continue going on the other one. So this is the new capability. It's super, super helpful for those of you that have been doing this yourself manually and updating attribute values into Tango. You will know that this is a huge step forward in giving you that capability and doing this in one screen without having to jump around. So we all really love it as CSMs at Tango. So I hope you do appreciate that as well. And the last piece of the new feature releases is going to be our dynamic links. So I'm going to jump into a campaign. And if you don't use campaigns, just, little refresher, campaigns are Tatango's ability to send customized, very precisely catered email messages to end users based on, some specific criteria that you define in Tatango. If you don't use campaigns and would like to start using them or have questions, please do reach out. It is a standalone feature or product within Tatango. You don't need any third-party systems. You can do your messaging directly from Tatango, which is really amazing because you can be pretty much autonomous and self-sufficient as a team. So I'm going to go directly into the editor, which is where we have the new dynamic link capabilities. So again, a reminder, the dynamic links can be used in your call to action button. So if we go to the call to action button, which is this register now, you can obviously, manipulate and define what is the text for the button. But then from there, you can actually do the specific link. And this is where you can infuse the data to your link. So what I'm doing, I just kind of randomly did this link, which is linking to a webinar. But if I have something specific, let's say I wanted to pre-populate a form that the customer needs to fill out so that when they get it, they already have their first name already added to the form. So I can simply click on add data and infuse other data into my URL, into my link. So I can continue adding data, maybe first name, maybe I want to add contract value or whatever the specific data that you want to present and have available is now available in your links. Before it was simply something that you could add to the text of the email, but now you can infuse that data into your links. So that's one way to do it, is in the call to action button. You can also customize the links in the message as you used to before. So what I'm doing here is there's to schedule, please visit this link. And then you can actually change the link as well. So you can infuse data and add other parameters. So they can be either on the account level or they can be user level. So you can actually, infuse data in there, whatever data is meaningful and relevant and makes sense for your specific campaign. So you can do that exactly in the URL. And the other part is the signature. So you can do this dynamic linking in your signature as well. So if there's anything that you need to add there, you can edit that and infuse that text. So again, infusing the text is the same way you would do before. So you basically add a specific link and then you can, display your text. And then let's say website.com, and then maybe there's something specific that you want to add as data. So it gives you a lot of different flexibility now to work with different use cases. Like I mentioned, some of them are, pre-populating forms with information or fields that are, going to save your end user time when they fill them out, or sending out specific surveys and making them precise to the end user. So the specific survey link will actually include specific, information about the user's role, and the survey that user receives is going to be catered, and the questioning is going to be specifically targeted to that particular user's individual role. So it makes it really much more customizable. There's a lot more customization now that you can build into the campaigns capability, with obviously the goals of increasing engagement and making it more relevant for the end user when they read your message. So again, if you don't have campaigns, reach out to us, ask us questions about how to take advantage of it. If you do have campaigns and have specific questions, or starting to use this functionality and have feedback or questions for us, please do reach out as well and let us know what you think so far. Now with this, I'm going to pause for a second and see if you have had any questions. If you have any questions, please do send them along or type them into the question box, and we will take them as they come in. Okay, so we have a question from someone asking if they can attend the summit. We did discuss our customer success summit coming up at the end of February. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be streaming. I will find out. We'll probably be announcing that information pretty soon. So check back with us on that, and we will let you know. Right now, I am not sure if that decision has been made yet. So we'll keep you posted. Another question came in. So the question is, can you sync campaigns emails back to Salesforce yet? So not yet. That's something that we have heard before, and that is something that we have on our list of features that we are considering, and will hopefully have as we evolve this capability. So check back with us. We will also update you on kind of the timeframes. If we have any concrete timeframes to share on that front, we will do so. Thank you for bringing that up.